Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, good evening. This is your African auntie in Diaspora welcoming you warmly. Well, I don't know how many of you knows about the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. And this is where these laws starts. It contains 54 articles, and these articles are applicable to everyone who is under 18 years. As I said, the articles are 54, 54 rights, and they are applicable for everyone under the age of 18. So up to there, just get it clear that these rights are not from the governments. The governments have adopted them to see that the rights of the children are implemented. A few examples of these basic fundamental rights of the child are in the first world or in diaspora, there are offices dealing with the welfare of the children, and they are using the basic fundamental rights to see that the children are well taken care of and are their rights are applied or are used or are implemented. Well, the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, in short, UNCRC, is an international human rights agreement, and it contains 54 articles. Before I give you some examples of the cases I had, I would like to explain or to let you know that in the first world or in diaspora where we are, there are offices dealing with the welfare of the children. That means if there is any information that the child is in danger or information which is touching these basic fundamental rights of the child, then these offices are obligated to take action. So this is why when something happened to a child, when there's a report, normally the action is to be taken very, very fast. And I just want to give you some cases, or I just want to present to you some cases that I had to deal with, which many parents, or I noticed that many parents are not really aware of these laws, of these rights of the child. But now I want to give you some of the examples of what can happen, what can make the institutions to take certain action. Let me give you an example of negligence, which I had to deal with. A boy of 10 years went to school and told his teacher that his mother is not giving him his breakfast box. A breakfast box has got bread, a bit of fruits, and could be a cucumber inside, things like tomatoes. And this boy said that, my mother doesn't give me food. My mother gives only my brother, my younger brother, because he was the eldest. There was a brother of about 8 years. So the teacher took this very, very serious because this is negligence. So during the break time, when other children were having their breakfast, the boy was watching and asking for other people or other children to give or to share with him. And this was really, really a terrible situation for the mother, because a mother who doesn't give her child food this is a real negligence. So the teacher informed the office dealing with the welfare of the children. They took the case, and to cut the story short, when I got into the case, and a few weeks later, the mother called me and told me, I want you to come, please, I want you to come to my place. So when I went to her place, she showed me under the bed, there were bread and fruits and all sorts of snacks she was preparing for the boy to carry with him to school. So he was taking them out and putting them under the bed. And when we asked him, he said he was jealous of his brother. That's why he did that. So it can also happen that it's not your fault, but all you need is communication with the authority. And for this mother, it was really terrible because the pressure was too much, but it was not true. So we agreed that she buys bread, or she takes the son with her to shopping so that she can choose whatever he wants to eat, or he himself can choose whatever he wants to eat, so that he doesn't get angry that the brother gets better than him. Because the brother always said what he wanted to eat, and he said he chose something else, but in the school it didn't fit. In the end, he liked the brother's breakfast box than his. So it is really challenging sometimes when you are dealing with these cases. This week, I got a call from a young father who told me that he needs help because he was in separation with a girlfriend and they have a child. And the girlfriend is in a country whereby she is not yet in the system, and she wanted to take the child with her. But the problem was that the father of the child, or the young man who called me, is the one who has an apartment, and the child has been living together with him in that apartment. That means the child has got a room in that apartment. The child is very well taken care of from him, and he could prove it. So the girlfriend came, and the girlfriend hasn't got an apartment, and that means it's like she is on the street. So the question is, where is she going to take this child with? So she started creating problems, wanting the man to hit her so that she can call the police. But he was very clever. He did not react. He only went to the balcony and then called the police for her, because she was shouting and making a scene so that the neighbors can come out and say, this is a very aggressive man. So in this case, the mother thinks that she's going to have the right straight away to take the child with her. But this is going to be very complicated because the child has a house, shelter, the child has a loving father, the child is well taken care of. The mother is abusing the child emotionally because she is screaming there. She's trying to pull the child by force, and she is trying to fight the father in front of the child. So this is emotional abuse. How the case is going to end, I cannot say now, but you can see that the child in these rights, a child has a right to be protected against violence. So what the father did, he called the police to protect the child. So the police asked the mother of the child to move out, to go away, because she is not registered there. The apartment is not hers. So when she said she wants to take the child with her, then the police asked where to. She said to a friend. The father said no, because the child has a room and has everything. So this is how these laws work sometimes. It doesn't mean that the mother is not going to get the child when she has apartment and she has she can give the child the shelter. Then she will also claim her rights, but the child has more right in this case to have contact with the mother and with the father. So whatever the situation is, you have to weigh whatever the situation is. What is good for the child. At the moment, what is good for the child is to stay with the father, because the father has everything, has protection for him, has a protection for it. The father has shelter for it. The father has material the child needs, food, everything, and the father has love for the child. So, but it doesn't stop the child from seeing the mother. The mother and the child both have this right to see each other. So, and in this case, we are only looking at the right of the child in this case. So, I'm not going to go into detail. I just wanted to enlighten you about these rights of the children, how they work. Because when the office dealing with the welfare of the children will come in, then of course they are going to support the father until the mother has a stable apartment or stable place where she can stay with the child. So, but there's nothing like she can take the child 100%, and there's nothing like the father can take this child 100%, because the child has a right to have contact with both parents or to be parented by both parents. So all these possibilities, and there we're just dealing with the what rights as this child. So here we are just trying to find out what are the rights of this child when the parents are separating. So whoever thinks that I'm going to punish my partner using the child, it's not going to work, because here the officers dealing with the welfare of the children are going to look at this right of the child. And it can happen that one of the parents say they are biased, or I don't know how they can give that man the child, and I am the mother, and I'm the one who was pregnant. I'm the one who had my baby for 9 months. They're not seeing that. They're not looking. Of course, they know you're the mother, but what they're looking at here is the child protected. Yes, at the father's place, the child is protected because there's shelter, there's love, there's a room, there are toys for the child to play, and the father is responsible. So when the mother can be responsible, meaning she has a shelter for the child, she can take care of the child, she has the stability, then she also can share the parenting with the father. But it's not that one parent can decide and say, it's me only. No, every child has a right to have contact or to be parented by both parents. So this is the article or the law where we are in this case of this couple. So I want to give you another example of physical abuse, which I had. A young mother who is new in Diaspora was taking her child to the kindergarten. On the way, the child was trying to make problems or create problems. The child was crying and did not want to move. So what she did, she took the child and of course shouted, and then gave the child a smack on the hand. And then she took the child to the kindergarten. And when they arrived there, the kindergarten teacher asked the mother why the child was so moody and didn't look happy. So the young mother explained to the kindergarten teacher that on the way, I smacked him on the hand. And that's why he was like that, because I want to go to work and I had to move fast. And he was not moving. He was, crying and he didn't want to move. So this is what I did. So The kindergarten teacher smiled, but she did not say anything. The mother went to work, and she, the kindergarten teacher, called the welfare office dealing with the children straight away. So the mother didn't know that this happened because she explained to her what happened, to the kindergarten teacher, and she didn't know. So a few days, 2 days after, then, or 3 days after, she got a letter from the welfare office, and they wanted to see her very fast. So then she went there, and then she called me, and then she told me this is what happened. So it's this law that the child has as a right to be protected against the violence, because in this case, the kindergarten teacher reflected on this law and said, "Oh, I have to protect this child against violence because the mother is violent." So there was no discussion about it. She said it herself, and it was nothing that they were going to look for evidence. She gave the evidence herself. And this mother did not understand why they are making such a big thing out of such a small thing, because according to her, smack is nothing. It's something small. But according to the laws protecting the children, it is violent. So I just want you to know that certain actions, you may not know them in the first world or in diaspora, because they're normal probably wherever you're coming from. But in this first world, and when you have children, then you really have to inform yourself about what is expected, which law is applicable to what I'm about to do to my child, because you never know that what you're doing is simple. It doesn't sound big, or it doesn't look as dangerous as it sounds, but in the end, you will have so much conflict with the authorities. There's a case I had which was really very, very overwhelming for the parents or for the mother. It was a case whereby a kindergarten trainee was changing the diapers of a small child, and on the body of this child there was some marks, or there were some marks on the skin, and these marks, there are two at the back, one on the shoulder, and one on the neck somewhere. And when she saw that, she really got somehow shocked, and was thinking, "Oh, this child is being physically abused." So what she did, she took the other two siblings of this child and checked them, because there were 3 children in the same kindergarten from the same mother. So when she checked them, she found that all these children, they have 4 marks, nearly the same areas or same points. So what did she do? After seeing these marks, she called the office dealing with the welfare of the children and reported the matter, that she's suspecting that the parents are physically abusing their children. In Germany, it's like this. If somebody calls and report a matter like that concerning the children, then the office, they have to take the action. So straight away, they were in the kindergarten to check. And after that, they told the parents to take the children to the doctor. It was a doctor who is specialized on the skin injuries. It doesn't matter how long they've been there. they can detect when the injury happened. So once she took the children there, she had to go a few times, and they checked the children. And do you know what came out? These were not injuries. They were birthmark. So the thing is that here, what we can learn out of this as parents in diaspora is that if you are taking your child to a kindergarten whereby there are no Black children, or whereby the kindergarten teachers don't have experience with the Black children, then it's good for you to tell them about the birthmarks, because they may suspect something which is not there. In this case, the damage was done because these parents, they were very overwhelmed about the situation because they have never touched their children. Their children was everything to them. And to be accused that you are abusing your child physically, I don't think any parent wants to experience that. So this is why I always say that, please, when you are taking your children to the kindergarten, check which kind of a kindergarten is that. Are the teachers there experienced or conversant with the diaspora people? Because if it's a pure white kindergarten, it can happen that they don't have experience with the skin of a Black child, and then such mistakes can happen. But the bottom line is, things like birthmark, I would tell them that my children have got some birthmark, especially if there are 2, 3, 4 birthmarks, because some people have that on the skin, just to avoid this kind of situations. And why do I say it's important to talk about the birthmarks? Because I have had calls, some kindergarten teachers also calling me and asking me, and the very shocking I had was about a kindergarten teacher, a man, who called me and told me, yeah, I just need your expertise before I make any mistake. I have this boy, and when I change the diaper, and his thighs are very, very dark, very black, and I don't know if he's physically being abused. And I was like, what? Because the thighs between the legs are, for me, it was not something, so it was not very unusual, because I knew this is urine. Probably the parents are leaving the child so long with the diapers, and then between the legs, then they would be very dark. And then he went on and said, yeah, it's not just between the legs, and when you go, he could not explain it properly, but he said, but I know that he meant when you go up to the back of the, so I didn't know what to say. I had to laugh. And he said, what is funny? I said, okay, it's not funny for you, but for me, it's funny because that is urine, definitely, which is burning the child. So he said, oh, yeah. So if your child is wearing the diapers, try and change the diapers frequently. It could be 2 hours. I don't know if it's over 2 hours, what's going to happen to the skin of a child. And this is very important, because there are small things, but they can put you into a big problems with the authority. Because let me tell you one thing, if the diapers are on the child so long that the child starts burning, then it is negligence, because you are not taking the responsibility to really protect your child from, such kind of things. So you just have to know that we are talking about the rights of the children. Yeah, so this is how it comes, or it happens that the parents are in conflict with the authority, because the authorities dealing with the welfare of the children are always watching these laws, and they learn them and they use them. So whenever they act, it is on the right, based on the right of the child. So whenever they act, it's based on the right of the child. So one more example is on health. It's about a case of a young mother who just arrived in Germany, and when she arrived, she gave birth. After giving birth, then she had to take her child for an examination, which they called the third, which is the third examination after the birth. The first one, second one is done in the hospital, and the third one she had to take the child to the doctor, so the children's doctor, for this checkup, and she did not do it. And after some time, she got a letter, and she did not do it. So it was then the office dealing with the health of the children, of course, they took action, and they reported the matter to the welfare office, dealing with the matter of the children also. And she was then put under pressure to take the child to the government health center. So there also they can control the children when the parents don't take them to the pediatricians. So she was invited to the office, and the office dealing with the welfare of the children, and she was asked to take the child to the government health center. And she went there, and she didn't have an insurance. And for her, it was because she applied for the insurance, or the health insurance, and the health insurance did not come on time. So she was still waiting for the health insurance to come so that she can go to the doctor. And what she did not know is that in Germany, if the parents have not gotten the health insurance for the child, they can go to the government health center, and the child will be checked. So you don't have to wait until you get the health insurance card. And she did not know about this. So this made the welfare authorities dealing with the child to stamp her as a mother who is neglecting the child, because she did not take the child to the doctor to be checked on time, and this checkup time period passed. So it's very important, especially for the newcomers in the diaspora, to inform yourself when you have small children. Especially inform yourself, what do I need, what do I have to do, which office do I have to go, which health insurance do I need, which kindergarten do I need, which kind of school. All these things is a lot to inform yourself, but it's worth it. And when I talked to this mother, and she came to find out that it was so easy, she didn't need to wait for 3 months for the health insurance for her baby. She just needed to find the information, what is the alternative. And this is why I'm giving you these examples. Yeah, I want to give you my last example. The last example is that we heard that the child has a right to have an access of education. So with this law, it's you can imagine that in many first worlds, the school is free till A level. Most of the countries, the school is free. That means the governments of these countries have implemented this right of the child, that they must have access to education. So this is why you ask yourself, why is it that in some countries the parents have to pay so much money for the education of the children from kindergarten, and in some countries it's free. And in most cases, the countries where there's wealth, the first world countries, the education is free, at least until A level. They go to school for free. And it starts, then they start paying probably from the university, but it all depends on whether this student is going on a private university or a government university. Let's take example of this countries like Germany. You don't pay nothing for your education, and if you start paying at the university level, then it's just minimal. They call it the administration fee, so that they can do the administration. But you cannot compare it with certain countries in Africa whereby the school fee is just unaffordable because the salary of the parent is not even enough to pay the school fee. So this is where in this access of education, it is not balanced in some countries. And the first world countries, they are using this law to, or this right of the children, they have implemented it that every child has access to education. And if we take this law serious, then parents in other countries where this law is not being properly implemented have got a right to probably take the country to court, because when a child is not going to school because of the school fee, but it is a right of every child to go to school, and the governments have to see or make sure that the child goes to school. So it's not me who is saying that. It's in the UN Convention on the Rights of the Children. So please inform yourself about these rights of the child. And for me, I must say that I've really come to appreciate this law because it enables many children, many girls to go to school. And in countries where these laws are not taken serious, then also we see how many girls don't go to school, or how many children don't go to school. There are so many who can't afford to go to school because the governments are not implementing these rights of the child. That was just a taste on the rights of the child so that you know. But if you want to read it, then please go in these websites and read all of them and try to understand them. As you know that school holidays are soon beginning or are soon starting in Europe. Are you traveling to Kenya? If you're traveling to Kenya, then stay tuned. I will share with you some very nice areas you can visit with your children, and they will like it and they will never forget that. Stay tuned and have a nice time wherever you are. Thank you. Thank you. If you like this video, please share it and send your comments and subscribe if you have not subscribed. Make sure when you subscribe, please subscribe with notification so that you can get all my videos, or you can be notified anytime I load the videos. Get in touch if you have any question, if you have comments, if you have something to share, you can share it with others also, or with other parents.